Okay, so this time our topic is about law of contracts. Now, contracts are the foundation of all business relationships. No? Every sales, service agreements, employee arrangement, and partnership begins with a contractual understanding, with a written or implied. So the law of contracts provides the rules that make these agreements legally binding, no, and enforceable, ensuring that promises made in business are honored. In business practice, no, contracts are not merely legal documents. They are tools for managing expectation, allocating risk, and building trust. A well-drafted contract protects parties from uncertainty and provide remedies, no, when obligations are not fulfilled. Conversely, a poorly understood contract can expose businesses to disputes, losses, and reputational damage. Understanding contract law empowers managers to negotiate effectively, recognize valid agreements, and identify potential legal issues before they escalate. Now, it also reinforces ethical business conduct by emphasizing consent, fairness, and accountability. So with that context, I now invite our presenter to discuss the law of contracts, focusing on its essential elements and practical implications. Please take note of how contracts operate in real business scenarios. Go ahead, sir.
Hello everyone. Good afternoon po. Good afternoon, Doc. So today, I will be tackling and talking about the law of contracts in the Philippine settings. Okay? We are all enrolled as MBA students here, so we will be talking about mostly on the business side. So alam naman natin na in the business world, these contracts is our lifeline. In every transaction, kailangan nating mag-sign ng contract even during our employment. So nag-sign na tayo ng contract. Okay? So I will be talking about the the objectives for my discussion today is to identify and verify the presence of these three essential elements: the consent, objective, and cause, to ensure that every business agreement is legally valid and binding. So we all know that even siguro na-try naman po natin mag-order sa Shopee, even as simple as order sa Shopee, it is already a binding agreement between you and the seller. So it's part of a contract already. Right? Analyze the hierarchy and defective contracts, rescissible, voidable, and unforeseeable and void. Okay? So let's define first what is a contract. Sabi ni Civil Code, Article 1305, a contract is a meeting of minds between two persons whereby one binds himself with respect to the other to give something or to render some services. So, ibig sabihin, sa madaling salita, if we are talking about the contract, kailangan magsasalubong kayo sa gitna ng kausap po ninyo. So, kung bibili po kayo, for example, ng cellphone, second hand, so kailangan si seller, kailangan niyang ilabas lahat ng issue ng cellphone, and you as a buyer, you should be aware of those issues bago kayo mag-meet doon sa price ng cellphone na yun. So, that is how contract in simple terms. So, minsan, we interchangeably etong dalawa na napagbabaliktad siya, the contract versus the obligation. Akala kasi nung iba minsan, contract is already obligation, and if you have obligation, it is already a contract. But they are two different things. The source of the obligation or the agreement itself, it is the contract. Kumbaga, kung ano po yung usapan ninyo, that is the contract. While the obligation, it's the legal duty to give, to do, or not to do, or the result. Kung sa example ko po kanina, kung cellphone po na gusto nyo bumili ng cellphone, the contract there is the agreement na bibili po kayo ng cellphone doon sa seller. Ngayon, ang obligation nyo po doon is to give the cellphone once na mag-meet kayo doon sa price and doon sa issues ng cellphones if meron man. So all contracts are obligations, but not all obligations are contracts, because we have these so-called obligations, like for example, we are paying our taxes. Hindi naman po natin kinontrata na magbabayad po tayo ng taxes, but it is our obligations to pay our taxes, our value-added tax and our withholding taxes. So there are three essential requisites of contract. Sabi ko nga po kanina, merong tatlo: consent, object of contracts, and cause of contracts. So sa consent po, under Article 1318, the meeting of the offer and the acceptance upon the thing and cost, it must be free, voluntary, and intelligent. So voluntary agreement by the parties. So ibig sabihin po, both parties, when we are dealing with the contract, dapat voluntary silang mag-enter into the contract. Kung bibili po ng cellphone, dapat willing yung isang magbayad at willing yung isang magbenta. Consent is the meeting of the offer and acceptance upon the thing and the cost which constitute the contract for consent to be valid. So parties must be capacitated. Consent must be given freely without mistake. Bawal pong magkamali as much as possible, and violence na kung hindi mo bibilhin tong cellphone ko, baka bubutasin ko yung gulong mo or tatanggalin ko yung gulong mo, mga ganong instances, and undue influence or fraud. Defective consent, voidable, allows the injured party to annul the contract. Once po na under this article, once na merong violence, merong intimidation, and so on, pwede pong maging voidable yung ating mga contract. So the vices of consent: mistake, error regarding the subject, the identity, or substantial factor. Kung hindi naman po, let's say for example po ulit, bibili po kayo ng cellphone at hindi naman po, ang bibili nyo po is iPhone 17, pero nung nasa meetup na po kayo, ang binibigay lang sa inyo is iPhone 11. So that is obviously that is obviously a mistake. Okay? At pwede pong avoid ang contract doon. Violence and intimidation, force or threat that coerce consent. Kung parang may mga threats po na pag di mo bibilhin tong cellphone ko, probably hindi ka na makakauwi or something like that. Undue influence, abuse of power or position to control another's will. Mga sa madaling salita, it's power trippings po. Kung for example, ikaw ang bebentahan mo ay yung boss mo at sinabi ng boss mo sa'yo, kung di mo to bibilhin, hindi kita bibigyan ng sahod for 1 month, that is obviously abuse of power. And fraud, deceptive act to induce the other party consent. So sa number 2 naman po, object or the subject matter. The thing, right, or service that is the subject of the contract, it must be within the commerce of men. Example, the land, the car, consulting service. Kung yung kanina po, it's the consent, yun yung pupunta pa lang kayo doon sa binding agreement nyo, which is the contract. Ngayon po, the object, ito na po yung mismong, kung cellphone po, yung example ko po, kung cellphone po, ito na po yung cellphone mismo. This is the object. Definite, lawful, and possible subject matter. So object of contracts, articles 1347 to 1349 on the civil code of the civil code. The object of the contract must be within the commerce of men. Be real, determinate, or at least determinable. Be lawful, unlawful, or impossible objects render contracts void. And yung pangatlo po, it's the cause or the consideration, the essential reason why the parties enter into the contract. If one is missing po, the contract is already void. Kung wala po yung mga naunang dalawa, then pwede pong maging void yung ating mga contracts. The cause of contracts, the cause is the immediate direct reason for the obligation. In an onerous contract, it is prestation or promise of prestation by the other party. The cause must be lawful, otherwise the contract is void or magiging void po yung ating mga contract if any of those three na nauna ay hindi present. So there are 3 stages po of a contract. First is preparation or negotiation. Before we enter into a contract, kailangan we are aware of what's inside the contract. Kaya nga po, it's very important for us na if ever man na may pinapapirma sa atin, we have to be knowledgeable on what are the things inside of those written papers. Kasi it's part of preparation and negotiation of contract. Initial discussion where no rights or obligations are yet established. Perfection, meeting of minds where the contract becomes binding once mapirmahan na po, and consummation, fulfillment or performance of contractual obligations. So there are different forms po of contracts. Contracts are obligatory, in whatever form they may have been entered into. May it be oral, as simple as bibilhin ko po yung sasakyan nyo, it's already a contract once na nag-agree po kayong dalawa. Or written, meron kayong black and white, nagpirmahan po kayo. For example po, bibili po kayo ng sasakyan, ng lupa, or different assets at nagpirmahan po kayo, that is a written contract. Provided all essential requisites are present. Civil Code Article 1356. The law requires a specific form for validity. So statute frauds po, contract must be in writing to be enforceable sale of land lease agreements. This is very evident po when we are buying a second-hand car, di ba meron po tayong tinatawag na deed of sale, which is a proof na merong kontrata na nabenta po sa inyo yung sasakyan. Even sa mga lupa po, pag bumibili po tayo ng lupa, meron po dapat deed of sale, and at the same time, nandoon po yung title ng lupa. So, meron din tayong four here, defective contracts. The Civil Code classifies defective contracts based on the severity of the defect. Meron pong rescissible, voidable, unforeseeable, void, and inexistent contracts. So, rescissible contracts, valid legally, but causes economic damage or lesion to a party or third person under Civil Code Article 1381. Contracts enter into a fraud creditors. Example po, a debtor sells his asset to a friend to avoid paying his debts. The creditor can ask the court to rescind or cancel the sale. So, bago po siya singilin, binenta niya na po yung mga asset niya. Voidable contract naman, valid annulled by a competent court. One party is incapable of giving consent. Probably, they entered the contract na ang kakontrata po nila is minor. Okay? Consent is vitiated by mistake, violence, intimidation, undue influence, or fraud. Kung tinakot po kayo, pwede pong maging voidable yung mga contracts po natin. So the remedy is annulment or ratification. And unforeseeable contracts cannot be enforced in court unless ratified. So the primary causes po of this is unauthorized contracts entering into a contract in the name of another without the authority. Kumbaga po, gumagamit po tayo ng pangalan ng iba para we can use their name para mag-enter into a contract. Statute of frauds. Agreement must be in writing to be enforced. Example po, sale of land agreements not to be performed within a year. Void and inexistent contract. Contract are inexistent and void from the beginning. So sa umpisa pa lang po, it's already avoidable. Void na po yung contract na yun. The causes or object is contrary to law, morals, or public policy. Absolute simulated fictitious contracts, object is outside the commerce of man. Example po, a contract to commit a crime or a bogus sale with no money involved. Extinguishment of contracts, articles 1231 to 1252. Contract are extinguished by performance or fulfillment, satisfactory completion of obligations, loss of object when the object of the contract is destroyed or lost without fault, condonation or remission, gratuitous waiver of debt by the creditor, confusion or merger when the qualities of creditor and debtor are merged into one person. Compensation po, reciprocal extinguishment of obligations when parties are debtors and creditors of each other. And novation, substitution of a new contract, debtor, or obligation. In summary po, the COC foundation, the consent, objective, and cause, if one is missing or illegal, the business deal is legally non-existent. So kung kulang po ng isa dyan sa tatlo, then pwede pong maging voidable yung contract. And for matters, while oral contracts are generally valid po, the statute of frauds requires high-stakes businesses deals like and sales or long-term leases to be in writing to be enforceable in court. So these are my references, and thank you po for listening. I would like to end with this quote: in the world of business, a clear contract is the best insurance policy.
Okay, so thank you so much, no? the discussion, no, clearly identified the essential elements of valid contract, no, including consent, object, and cause or consideration. So these elements ensure that agreements are entered into freely uh, for local purposes and with mutual benefit. One important insight is that not all agreements qualify as enforceable contracts. The law distinguishes between moral obligation and legal obligations, emphasizing the need for legal intent and compliance with formal requirements. So, different types of contracts, such as express and implied contracts, and how business practices often rely on implied agreements form through conduct. Now, this reflects the practical realities of daily commercial transaction. Another critical point is the concept of breach of contract and available remedies. Contract law does not merely penalize wrongdoing, but seeks to restore the injured party to the positions they would have been in had the contract been performed. So it also emphasized that contracts serve as the risk management tools, no? Clear terms on payment, delivery, warranties, and dispute resolution, reduce uncertainty and protect business interests. So the role of good faith is in contractual relation was also underscored, no, ethical negotiation and performance, strengthen long-term business relationship, and reduce the likelihood of disputes. So, of course, the law of contracts equip business professionals with legal discipline and straight foresight. Uh, Mastery of this topic is essential for any involved in management, entrepreneurship, and corporate leadership. I just want also to give a case, no, an actual cases, no, of the law of contracts. No, so the number one is the Angeles versus Calansans, no? JR L42283, no? The core principle is breach of contract and mutual obligation. So the facts, the parties entered into a contract to sell a parcel of land payable in installment. So the buyer failed to to pay on time, while the seller also failed to fulfill certain obligations related to the property. Issue: can one party demand performance if it has not complied with its obligation? Ruling: no. The court ruled that in reciprocal obligation, neither party may demand performance unless they have complied or are ready to comply. No? So, ang takeaway natin in contracts, performance is mutual. A party in breach cannot demand strict compliance from the other. Okay? Case number 2, Villanueva versus Court of Appeals, GR number 1070696, no? The core principle, consent and meeting of the minds. Diba? Nabanggit kanina sa meeting of the minds. Facts, a dispute arose over a contract where one party claimed there was no true agreement because essential terms were unclear and misunderstood. What will be the issues? Was there a valid contract despite the disagreement? Ruling: no. The court ruled that a contract requires a clear meaning of the minds on essential terms. Without it, no binding contract exists. So, takeaway, ambiguous agreement expose businesses to serious legal risk. Clarity is essential in all contracts. No? Case number 3, Spouses Abella versus Spouses Abella. GR number 195166. Core principle, freedom to contract versus public policy. Facts, family members entered into a business-related agreement that later became disputed due to unfair terms. Issue: can parties freely contract even if terms are inequitable? Ruling: the court ruled that while parties enjoy freedom to contract, agreements contrary to law, morals, or public policy are void or unenforceable. Takeaway: freedom to contract is not absolute, no? Fairness and legality always limit contractual autonomy. Case number 4, Air France versus Carrascoso, no? GR number L21438. Core principle, good faith in contract performance. Facts, Carrascoso held confirmed first class ticket but was downgraded without valid reason. Air France argued it merely exercised contractual rights. Issue: can a party be liable even if acting within the letter of the contract? Ruling: yes, the court ruled that bad faith in contract performance gives rise to moral and exemplary damage. Takeaway: Contracts must be performed not only legally but ethically and in good faith. Last case, Francisco versus Chemical Bulk Carriers Incorporated. GR number 193577, no? Core principle, binding effect of contracts and damages. Facts, a shipping company failed to fulfill contractual obligations causing financial loss to the other party. Issue is failure to perform contractual duties actionable. Ruling court, yes. The court ruled that contracts have the force of law between the parties and breach result in liability for damages. Takeaway, once a contract is perfected, non-performance carries real financial and legal consequences. So, therefore, these cases shows that contracts are not just documents. They are legal relationships governed by consent, fairness, and good faith. In business, the strongest protection is not aggressive drafting, but clarity, compliance, and ethical performance. The law enforces agreements, but it is also disciplines abuse. Okay? So, thank you so much.
Doc, i-consult ko lang din po kasi nangyayari siya sa amin ngayon. So, there is these instances na may isang farmers kasi, Doc, yung area namin sa Isabela. So,
Hmm.
may isang buyer, bumili po ng palay, and ang promise niya po before was he will give the payment in 2 weeks. But until now po, wala pa siyang nabibigay, and nagbigay siya ng check, Doc, na post-dated nung pinunta sa bangko ng mga farmers yung check na yun, tumalbog yung cheque. Now, they are planning to take legal action sana, Doc. Is it still considered po na breach of contract na siya, Doc? Since wala naman pong prior na di siya nagbigay ng post-dated check, Doc, nung bumili po siya ng palay.
Okay, okay. Okay, so, ang case ay bumili ng palay pero nagbayad ng cheque.
Yes, Doc.
Tapos ang cheque tumalbog.
Yes, Doc.
Okay.
Pero sabi niya, Doc,
Hmm.
2 weeks before, pero parang 3 months na po yata ngayon na walang payment na nakukuha yung mga farmer.
Okay, actually, ang dapat gawin dyan, no, ng seller ay nagpadala na written demand ng demand letter sa buyer.
I'm not yet sure, Doc, kung nagpadala na.
Ang unang gagawin dyan, magpadala ng written demand letter na tumalbog yung cheque. May obligation siyang bayaran ang halaga at magpalugit kayo ng usually 5 banking days para magbayad o magpalit ng cash. Mahalaga kasi yan sa requirement ng batas na meron kayong ginawang ganyan. Okay? Ang kaso kasi dyan ay yung Batas Pambansa 22, no, bouncing check law, no? Kapag hindi pa rin nagbayad ang buyer matapos nakatanggap ng demand letter, maaaring magsampa na ng kaso sa ilalim ng dapat po ang Batas Pambansa bilang 22, no? So anong batayan? Nagbigay ng cheque, tumalbog ang cheque, hindi binayaran sa loob ng 5 banking days na kasi na mula sa demand letter dapat. So, ang magiging resulta niyan, criminal case, no? May multa at posibleng pagkakakulong, kahit bayaran pa ang utang, may pananagutan pa rin kung napatunayan ang paglabag, no? So, ito ang pinakakaraniwang kaso sa mga ganitong sitwasyon sa kalakalan, ano? So, pwede ring estapa, no? Maaari ring magsampa ng estapa kung mapapatunayan kasi alam ng buyer na walang pondo ang cheque, may pangliling lang mula pa sa simula. Ginamit ang cheque para makuha ang palay, di ba? So mas mabigat ito kaysa Batas Pambansa 22 dahil may element siya ng panlilinlang eh. Hindi lahat ng tumalbog na cheque ay estapa. Kailangan na malinaw ang ebidensya ng panluloko kasi. Sa civic case naman, collection of sum of money, bukod sa criminal cases, maaaring magsampa ng civil case para masingil ang halaga ng palay, makasingil ng interest at damages. No, ito ay nakabatay sa law on contracts. Dahil may kasunduan ba kayo? Wala? Or may obligation at saka may paglabag ng non-payment. No? Sa practical business naman option, Siyempre tayo naman sa Pilipinas no laging natin yung amicable settlement sa maraming rural at agricultural settings mas practical muna kasi yung barangay mediation, written acknowledgement of debt, payment restructuring or installment. Pero dapat may kasulatan at huwag basta umasa sa pangako lang So, dyan po sa kaso na sinasabi mo, based sa ating discussion, ang legal principles dyan, contracts have the force of law between the parties. No, a check is not legal tender but a promise to pay po. Ang check ha, tandaan po natin, issuing a bouncing check is punishable by law. So, good faith is required in business transactions. So, sa negosyo, ang cheque ay simbolo lamang ng tiwala. Ano po, kapag tumalbog ang cheque, hindi lang ito simpleng utang, ito ay legal na issue. So, pinoprotektahan po ng batas ang sealer pero tinuturuan din tayo nito ng leksyon. Huwag magpapadala ng produkto ng walang sapat na seguridad sa negosyo. Tiwala ang puhunan pero dokumento ang proteksyon. Okay? Tandaan po natin yan.
Thank you, Doc.
Okay? Sige.